We're at the Wallace Collection in the heart of London, home to some of the world's most iconic portraits.
12 artists are preparing to take part in a very special art competition.
And their talents will be truly tested. They face a heady mix of celebrity sitters, strong-minded judges, and a time limit.
So, who's got what it takes to become the next Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year?
For the past 5 weeks, we've been travelling Britain and Ireland in search of outstanding artistic talent.
In today's heat, 12 new artists are preparing to compete for a life-changing prize, a £10,000 commission for the Scottish National Portrait Gallery.
My self-portrait took me like 100 hours.
So about 25 times longer than you've got.
But with just 4 hours to complete a portrait, they have to impress our judges. Award-winning artist Tyshan Schurenberg, Kate Bryan, head of Contemporary at the Fine Arts Society, and independent curator and art historian Kathleen Soriano.
This one it's not for me, Ty. It's just not doing it in amongst the others.
But whose bold brushstrokes?
You're going to do the hair?
Yeah, no, that's a general idea, yeah.
And perfect portraiture.
This is quite an exquisite drawing.
Oh, thank you.
Will secure them a place in the semi-final.
What about that awful dog? She'll want her money back, won't she?
Our 12 artists are about to test themselves against the clock and in front of large crowds. It's a time for steady nerves.
I think what I'm most worried about is not getting the drawing right.
I'm concerned about the timing, obviously, but I suppose everybody is.
I think I'm just worried about how much I'll get done and also about capturing the right likeness.
Just want to get going now, actually, and see if it's a hit or a miss.
The judges shortlisted today's artists from digital copies of their self-portraits. This is their first chance to see the originals.
Is it different seeing these now when you've only seen them on a computer screen?
They're texturally all very different. It's very exciting to see them after having just seen the digital image.
It's a completely different experience going from the screen to the real thing.
So what do we think about this first one?
Well, I think this is an example where it's even better in the flesh, for me personally.
The lovely thing he's also done is he's taken costume, so he's made it much more interesting than just himself.
We don't know for sure that this is a costume. This might be his everyday apparel.
It may well be.
Oh, I was really looking forward to seeing this one. It does not disappoint for me.
Well, I think this is potentially one of our winners.
Yeah, I love it.
So,
It just really stood out on the day when we were judging.
because what she's done is she's taken that sort of photorealist style and sort of made it much more her own. It's not
Definitely.
sort of pat.
The energy is so compressed. I mean, of course, the colour in the background is very strong as well.
It's funny, when you put them next to each other, that one, it puts this one slightly to shame.
Yeah, it suffers slightly.
Maybe that's also interesting, that she's not engaging the viewer.
And we experience so many of these younger painters applying with the selfie and, you know, the very dramatic makeup. And, you know, actually this has got something really pared back. It's just quite engaging.
I just like the mood.
Well, that's it, the naivety. Yeah. The naivety of it, I think, is charming.
I'm hoping that she's just going to be this brilliant, naive painter and really surprise and impress us today.
Well, this style is quite contemporary and very collectible.
You know, I was going to bring practically nothing. And then at the last minute, I think, oh, well, maybe I just need that. And maybe I just need that. So I've got pretty much everything I own with me, actually.
Rebecca Hathaway has studied portraiture at Heatherley's in London for 3 years, so she's confident in her approach to today's challenge.
I'm going to prime the canvas because I don't want to work on a white canvas. I'm going to do that with acrylic because it dries instantly, and then it's dry before you know it, and then you can paint on it without it, you know, getting involved in.
Professional artist Emily Tull from Ramsgate has been working with material and thread for 6 years. Her set of tools is entirely different from those of the painters.
I have my tailor's chalk, lots of scissors. I've kind of organised my thread into colour tones.
Emily, I've just been looking at your self-portrait. I can't believe it. It's so unusual. It's woven.
Yeah, it's hand-stitched. Yeah.
It's hand-stitched and
Yep.
not paint,
No.
but silks. You've invented this.
I guess so. I mean, there's a few people that do stitching, but they paint as well. So I'm the only one that I'm aware of.
We've hung all the self-portraits in the gallery. It gives our artists their first chance to study the competition.
I'm glad we didn't go any lower.
Retired architect David Thomas is from Yorkshire. Today, he's the only artist using watercolour.
I feel that watercolour is very much undervalued, generally, and particularly for portraiture. So I'm very glad to have an opportunity to show what it can do.
Really nice. So this is watercolour? Yeah, gorgeous.
Is that watercolour? No. Why are people so good?
The next important question, who will be today's sitters?
Hoping for someone with quite distinctive features.
If they sit still, then they're a good sitter.
Someone really craggy.
Your sitter today is one of the country's best-loved writers. And if you ever thought the countryside was boring, you should read one of her novels. Please welcome Jilly Cooper.
Jilly Cooper began her career as a journalist before writing more than 50 novels, including the international bestseller Riders.
Jilly, welcome.
Darling.
How lovely to see you.
Gosh, how lovely to see you.
Can I
Yes.
pretend I'm a gentleman? There you go, lovely. Do you always travel with the painting of a canine?
Oh, this is Feather. This is Feather, my greyhound, painted by a friend called Ros Berriman. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
Please welcome Lord Melvyn Bragg.
With a career in broadcasting spanning more than 50 years, Melvyn Bragg is an award-winning programme maker, presenter and author, and is a passionate advocate of the arts.
Now, my first question to you is, how are you going to sit still for so long?
I don't know. That's been worrying me. I've been practicing and I've got to 4 minutes so far.
Your sitter today is a member of one of television's best-loved families. Please welcome Ben Brockman, better known as Daniel Roche.
At just 14, actor Daniel Roche is already a familiar face. He plays Ben Brockman in the highly acclaimed sitcom Outnumbered.
Please sit.
Cheers.
So, have you sat for a portrait before?
Never. No, it's my first time.
Excited? Worried?
Yeah, I'm kind of edgy about falling asleep, to be honest, because...
Well, that's OK. We can paint you slumbering.
Yeah.
Today, your pose is going to be set by Kate Bryant.
Hello. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, everyone. Hi. Well, so we want something which is comfortable for you, and this looks like you've really won out with this. Well done.
Where should I look, sort of straight ahead or what?
Where does it naturally feel?
About there, really.
About there.
Yeah, about there.
I'm very strict with my sitters. I don't know how these painters will react to you moving around, but I think as still as possible, really good.
Gosh.
Gosh.
Can we chat?
Yes, that'd be very interesting. As long as you keep your head in the right same direction.
Okay. Artists, I hope you're ready. Sitters, I hope you're comfortable.
You have 4 hours to complete your work, and the time starts now.
One of the challenges of producing a great portrait is to capture not only a likeness, but also something of the character of the sitter.
I'm just getting my first sketch down and just trying to get the likeness you know, to start because I think it's important to have a good foundation.
Abby Skinner is studying illustration at Bournemouth University, where she always tries to incorporate portraits into her work.
This is quite an exquisite drawing.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
With your self-portrait, it's structured around the drawing of the...
Yeah.
So how are you going to transfer that onto the canvas?
I'm transferring it right now.
Oh, you're
I'm
doing
good.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, let's have a
yeah,
look.
so I don't know how it's looking at the moment. Probably a bit fine at the minute.
No, it's fantastic. No, it's great.
Yeah.
Excellent, okay.
And you're the only person with a clock there. I like that. That's very, very well organised.
Because I know what I'm like.
Whether using acrylic, oil, thread, watercolour or pastels, most of our artists have a strategy.
I'm going for a lot heavier base drawing than I would normally do with a pastel, just so I don't mess it up, really.
You can always hope you get a lucky break and it all goes well at the end, but it might just look like a real mess. That's it, really.
Here at the Wallace Collection in London, our artists are competing for the chance to win a £10,000 commission for the Scottish National Portrait Gallery. They are 1 hour into the 4 hours they are allowed.
The drawing is he's situated really nicely in your rectangle. And he's also got a smile on his face.
I know, I was really lucky to catch that before.
So
when I was taking pictures.
you want an expression.
Yeah, right. I wanted an expression because my angle isn't amazing. I prefer being in front.
Yeah.
So catching a smile was good.
24-year-old Sally Dyer from Preston is a professional artist who supplements her income by working in a coffee shop.
Your self-portrait was very stark in the sense that, you know, just your head against a white background, and you started with a white canvas here. Are you going to keep it as graphic as your self-portrait, do you think?
I think I quite like that edginess to it.
Tess, hello.
Hi.
I want to start with the standard question. How's it going, do you think?
I think okay at the moment. Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to locate everything where it is and like general sort of tones and everything.
21-year-old amateur artist Tess Hanneman is studying philosophy at university, but is considering switching to a career in art.
So you would normally take how long to do a portrait like this, would you say?
My self-portrait took me quite a long time. That took me like 100 hours, but then I've definitely sped up since then.
So about 25 times longer than you've got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All the artists today have had their own motivation to paint, and none more so than IT worker Stephen Westwood. His self-portrait is a powerful reminder of past surgery.
Now, I think you were inspired, weren't you, to return to painting because you got cancer?
That's right, yeah.
And are you well now?
Yeah, 4 years now.
But do you feel that you're now searching for that big theme again, or do you just think that that was the kickstart and now you're just going to be an artist and paint whatever comes?
I mean, if I could paint, and I would paint, but obviously, you know...
You can paint. But you would give up your day job. You'd like to be a professional artist.
Of course you would, yeah.
OK.
Yeah,
OK.
Definitely.
Well, who knows? This could turn things around.
Which artists are you sort of really taking inspiration from?
Well, one of my favourites is Rembrandt. His brooding lights are always interested me.
23-year-old Londoner Chris Gray used to study 3D design, but now concentrates purely on drawing.
Lots of people, I think, tend to think of pastel as being quite a quick medium, but I understand your self-portrait was about 6 hours.
Yeah, I tend to build up a pastel over time, so I try to find the drawing as I'm drawing it.
So is it not unusual for your work to start off not looking like you and then sort of suddenly emerge? Because Oh, I see.
You kind of look like a human, and then you look a bit like a distant relative, then a cousin, then a brother, and eventually, hopefully, you end up looking like you.
Have you spotted anyone yet of whom you have high hopes?
Abby, who's a beautiful self-portrait here,
Right.
caught our attention. It started with a very, very beautiful and powerful drawing of Melvyn Bragg, and it's very sort of insightful. I'm just interested to see how she's going to progress with that. And in my bit with Jilly Cooper, Stephen, who did a painting, a self-portrait obviously from photograph, I thought he was going to have problems. And he's done a very delicate, sensitive drawing, and he's just started painting Jilly, and I think
Is
it's
that
wonderful.
the one that's very soulful?
Yes,
Which is a real soulful mood.
I'm also really keen to see how the portrait of Melvyn develops with the textiles, because I think that could be very, very stunning. I'm sure we'll only see that come together towards the very end.
the 11th hour.
And what about you, Kate?
Actually, I'm really encouraged to see two people who are both painting Daniel, the younger sitter. One of them is someone who I thought wouldn't be as good as she is, which is Sally. I think she's really delivering a really kind of intense piece of work. But I can't take my eyes off it. I really hope it becomes something great. And that actually surprised me. And the other one is Philip, who's done this gorgeous sort of Renaissance monochromatic study.
Philip Morgan is from London, but is currently studying 1920s German art in Berlin.
I'm pretty pleased so far. So I've got the likeness pretty good. I'm just laying some sort of groundwork onto sort of the light and dark now.
So Kate, Daniel's pose, and it says to me sort of, you know, classic, moody, disconnected teenager. Is there more to it than that?
Actually, exactly as you say, because he's a teenager, we wanted to get that sense that he's occupying completely his own world.
Yeah.
In this way, we really thought we'd focus on him being you know, a teenager. The country's seen him grow up and outnumbered.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to sort of capture him in this moment in time at the age that he is.
Yeah, it works.
Now, you did the setting for Melvyn Bragg. What is it represented here?
Well, Melvyn's had such an incredible life with the arts and with culture in general. We sort of tasked him with thinking about who, if he could have a wonderful dinner party, he would want round the table with him. And he chose some of the most important icons to him, the people who've influenced him, his thinking, and that he's found the most inspiring.
Quite a lot of the people doing the pictures have not incorporated this very rich background he's got. Does that matter to you?
The background is there really to give them a context, because some artists really want that sense of narrative, that sense of story. I think if it were a completely blank background, it would be harder for them to negotiate, really. But it doesn't bother me that it's not there.
So, what is the philosophy behind Jilly's pose?
In Jilly's house, she's got two drawing rooms. One's blue and one's orange. And we thought, you know, orange is an interesting colour. It's a bit of a challenge for the artists.
I don't understand why orange is a challenge.
Orange is a warm colour.
Yeah.
Warm colours tend to come forward, cool colours like blue go backwards. So, in a sense, we put a warm colour behind Jilly, which is very difficult to keep behind her. You know, it wants to come forward.
So the danger is that she might get lost in a warm colour, whereas a blue would naturally separate.
Yeah, and
from her.
create a lot of space. Yeah.
Okay. Annabelle, now before we talk about this portrait, there's an even more important portrait, isn't there, today? That you had a bet with your physics teacher?
Dr. Taylor, yes.
You could get a selfie with me. So let's do that first, because it's all about portraits, isn't it?
At 17, Annabelle Adams is the youngest artist in the competition. She plans to study medicine at university, and she's hoping her knowledge of science might give her an advantage.
I really like the idea that your science informs your art.
Yeah, I really like science. Biology especially, because you observing and it's so different from looking. I think art taught me so much for science.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you get asked surprisingly a lot to draw, like, insides of hearts, eyes, all the fun stuff.
So it's a bit like the way that classically trained artists would study anatomy before they did painting. I guess if you can look at a face and kind of know what's behind there, that
You can
helps.
see the kind of bone structure and the sort of mandible and things like that.
Oh, yeah, I love a bit of mandible.
Halfway through the challenge, and the judges are already foreseeing some likely disagreement about who will go through to the next round.
We're going to have at least 4 or 5 works that we'll be arguing over, basically, as to
I
whether
can
or
see
not they
some
go to the
arguing today
final.
because it's just too diverse.
At the Wallace Collection in London, the artists have been painting for more than 2 hours. Their techniques range from the very traditional to much more modern.
You've got Melvyn sitting here, and here's the canvas. Why do you need to refer to that?
Because he fidgets.
Does he fidget? I knew he would.
No, he's fine.
So what's the idea?
Well, I can refer to Melvyn and that, but then you see I can sort of enlarge it, so it gives me a better idea of what's going on.
Former print worker David Vigo has been a professional artist for the past 2 years.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Are you pleased?
Yes, I've hit my targets that I set for the drawing and then for laying down some colour.
Right.
And then start.
And then what's the next target?
Finish.
Artists, you are halfway through your allotted time.
I need to finish the hair and get the shadow like on the forehead and the shadows of the hair. I think that will make a real difference. Like, there's so much to do and still, yeah.
I'm going to do everything around him, like, but leave the skin and face till last, I think. Just have one last push at the end.
I've really struggled with the background.
You've got plenty of time, don't worry, don't panic. Drink something. What do you want to drink?
Oh, I'd have a cup of water. I'll have some water. What about that awful dog? She'll want her money back, won't she?
Well, I can't believe this. Not long ago, and after a lot of work, you were still drawing.
Yeah, it took me longer
For an
than I
hour at
thought.
least,
Yeah.
drawing. Very slowly and meticulously. And now it's beginning to be transformed by... This is... What paint is this?
Acrylic. This is acrylic.
Right, just one colour so far.
One colour so far, yeah. I'll build it up slowly. I think now that I've got the drawing done, it'll be a lot easier, but I've still got to make the form of the face and with the colours, so...
But all the trouble you took with the detail of the drawing, so that's your underpinning.
Yeah.
You're relying on that.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I won't take up any more of your time.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Not only are the artists under the scrutiny of the judges, our visitors to the Wallace Collection are also following their every brushstroke.
I don't think I'd be able to produce anything as good as these guys, but I think that's part of the fascination for me, that I physically can't do it.
Do you think you've picked a winner?
There are two that I'm particularly keen on. One directly behind us, very subtle, absolutely beautiful. And there's one just around the corner, which again, very subtle, taking its time to kind of come forward, but it's really beautiful.
See, one of the things I like about it is that there's very little staring in normal life. You don't get stared at because it's impolite.
No.
But It's good to see people really studying you.
Absolutely. And everybody, it's a terrific sort of joyful atmosphere, isn't there?
Yeah, and you are absolutely the focus of attention, which is always good, isn't
Lovely,
it?
yeah.
How are you bearing up?
Well, I'm having a really good time. I'm not just saying it. I thought it'd be a bit of fun to do, and it's fascinating because I'm faced by backs of 4 canvases. So I don't know what's going on there. And
You haven't had a sneak to look?
No, I don't. No, I want the story to end on the last page.
Well, you will be delighted when you step
hope so.
outside this charm circle and see their work. Well, Ray, you certainly leapt in. You didn't waste any time, and no time at all. There was paint all over this canvas.
Yes.
You're a man in a hurry.
Yes. Because painting's layers and layers and layers until you get enough layers to create a beautiful flesh tone.
Raymond Gaston's destiny as a professional artist was predicted at an early age.
And you were expecting to be an artist? I mean, didn't someone read your palm?
Oh, yes, yes.
Tell me.
Yes, oh, I was 2.5 years old, and this old woman put me on the lap. My mother, of course, looked, said, "Excuse me, but I saw you reading the palm of my son. What did you see?" "Oh, I beg your pardon. I saw that your son is going to be famous abroad, not in this country, not in the Philippines. I'm now here." I'm not famous yet.
As an artist?
Yes, as an artist.
Well, good luck, Ray.
Oh,
I
thank
shall
you
watch
very
it as it goes on,
Oh, yeah.
changing.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
very
you.
much.
Do you paint yourself ever?
No, I'm not a painter. I'm a doodler. I like doodle, but never myself. I'd always love to be able to paint. I'm just not very good at it, and I kind of get frustrated if I see my own painting.
But what a fabulous piece of TV it would be if you came back next series as an artist rather than a sitter.
One artist who knows the pressures of taking part in this competition is winner of last year's London heat, Louis Morris. He impressed the judges with his painting of Juliet Stevenson and her son.
And what do you make of what you've seen here already?
There are some that are clear front runners for me. And
Which ones?
Well, there's one around the corner there where she just put one tiny little mark in for the mouth. All of a sudden, you got a real sense of Jilly Cooper.
What was the outcome last year? What was the consequence for you?
Feet haven't really touched the ground in lots of different ways.
Commissions?
There have been lots of commissions, but also people just emailing and saying they like my painting, which is really gratifying, and just people asking for advice.
Do you think this is going to be hard to judge?
It is. I don't envy the judges any more than last year. There's some really strong work.
The paintwork on here is all very nice and loose. Are you going to try to get this right and then keep it loose?
Just painting live, I think it naturally becomes a bit
okay,
looser because there's just movement in the pose and stuff like that.
How are you feeling about time? Are you on, I think?
I'm up against it, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I think you're doing
think
all
so.
right. And you were just about to fill in a very important bit, so I'll get Jilly to sit very still and then you can see what tone it is.
Thanks.
Artists, you have 30 minutes to complete your portraits. 30 minutes.
How will you know when it's finished?
I know I wouldn't finish it in this time, so it's going to be a case of that I feel that it's kind of as even as possible, that I've got the most important, then I feel that I've kind of fished it enough for today.
And you've seen Melvyn on television?
I have.
Do you feel that you've caught something of his character already?
I hope so, because I've done it so his mouth is slightly open, as if he's talking to everybody about arts. So I was quite careful of how I was going to have his
He's going to be so
position.
intrigued to see it.
I think better than I thought it would. I need to make sure I don't overdo certain areas, though, which can be a danger, I think. Possibly try and blend his face into shadows a bit more.
I'm doing the eyes again. I've taken a photograph close up. I lifted out the eyes as painted so far. Risky, this is. I've got to wait now for the paper to dry. Can't do anything until then. So that'll be 10 minutes at least. And then I'll have to do the eyes in the time remaining.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that I make it on time. I'm just rattling through painting the hair, which is thankfully you can be quite quick with and expressive.
I'm on track still, I think. I'm probably not going to fill in too much detail with the top and stuff. I'm just focusing on the head, definitely.
What do you think about your dad's performance so far?
Good. You know, when it's coming together, you're kind of worried, sort of thinking, how much time has he got left?
Well,
Is
it's
it looking like him? Yeah,
it's a mysterious process. It's very hard to tell what the final result.
I know a lot of people just put the pencil down and then a little 10-minute rush at the end, and all of a sudden it looks like him. And
yeah.
I think we went for coffee and came back, and it looked like him. So I was like, oh, good.
While David's son seems quite happy, Abby's dad is a lot less confident.
It's touch and go at the moment, I think, yeah. She's not used to doing things in 4 hours at all, you know. She's more relieved to see some paint going on because I think she's got a chance of finishing.
She's had a clock sitting in front of her the whole time, so she's clearly planned it out.
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm worried that we might end up by the end of the day saying she should have just done a really beautiful drawing.
We're in the final 10 minutes of this heat of Sky Art's Portrait Artist of the Year. And some portraits still seem to be a long way from finished.
I'm worried about the hair. What do you think? Have you given up on the hair?
No, I like it just like that.
Like Harpo Marx?
Just like that.
You're not tempted to just have a quick explosive go at the hair?
No, I
Okay,
think I'm
don't
happy
listen to
with
me.
it
What do I
like
know?
In the beginning, people coming up and talking to me was very welcome, but now it's not so welcome.
You going to do the hair?
I hope so.
Well, she does have whitish hair, so I thought perhaps you were going to leave it like that.
Yeah, no, that's a general idea, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to sort of haul it together so there's no big, obvious blunders in it. You know, you walk away and realise you haven't got any eyes or something like that, you know, because sometimes you just miss the obvious.
Artists, you have 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes.
I think I've given it a good go. There's not really much more I can do, to be honest, so, you know, just kind of just playing around with it, I guess. Probably shouldn't be.
Done. Otherwise I'll ruin it.
Artists, your time is up.
Please put down your brushes and your needle and step away from your portrait.
The sitters now get the chance to choose their favourite portrait to keep.
Well, Melvyn, now you haven't seen any of these portraits. It's the great reveal. Now, how do you feel about that?
I think it's a terrific likeness.
Is that what you see when you look in the mirror? You're going to have to choose just one.
I've got to get a move on, haven't I? All right. I think in the end I'll go for that.
I'm so glad you like it.
I do.
That looks like my face.
Yeah. That's a definite plus, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to say this one.
Oh, look, oh, they're amazing.
So shall we do the...
Useful, I look intelligent too, don't I?
Yeah, and you know that, you know, orange suits you.
Yeah.
I would look into that.
Oh dear, how difficult. I'd like that one.
Lovely.
Yeah. Well, I love the other ones too.
I'm afraid I'm covered in paint. It was a pleasure.
The artists now have to wait while the judges scrutinise their portraits.
I got to a certain stage, I got really excited about 3/4 of the way through the day, thinking she's going to do it, she's going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I came along at the end and I thought, I was looking for that extra sprint finish and it didn't materialise.
I don't think you can sprint with that medium.
No. I stitched a lot faster than I thought I was going to. Halfway through, I was really happy at how far I got.
Now, this was a hot favourite for the day. The more I'm looking at it, the more I like it.
I would have loved to have finished it, but I feel like I did the best I could do.
It's a great spirit of youthful sort of naughtiness as well. It's wonderful. This blue works very beautifully against the face and it's just indicated.
I'm really pleased with it, yeah. I'm glad that I planned and I had it figured out.
He'd caught something about Jilly just very quickly and it just happened and it was just absolutely right.
I thought time might be an issue, and it was. And I had to knock out the hair in like 5 minutes at the end.
Before they can decide who will make it to the semi-final, the judges shortlist their favourite 3.
That's not a bad likeness. I think people would recognise Melvyn Bragg from that.
This one it's not for me, Ty. It's just not doing it in amongst the others.
But actually, I have to say, I wasn't sure about this one, but now I see it next to this one. This doesn't feel like neither a great painting nor a great portrait, whereas at least that is a portrait.
The time has come to name the shortlisted artists. The first artist is Emily Toll. The second artist is Stephen Westwood. The third artist is Sally Dyer.
What about a big hand for our remaining artists?
So happy to have experienced it and everything. So I'm really looking forward to perhaps entering next year, something fun.
I've never actually painted anyone over about the age of 25, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think, actually. So that was a whole new experience.
Just amazing. I'm really glad that this has actually happened to me. It's great.
To help decide who will go through to the semi-final, the judges ask each artist about their work.
Here, with the side angle, did you choose that position on purpose, or?
No, I was seated there and I was a bit thrown because I don't normally work from that angle, but it actually worked out really well.
It's really hard. I mean, in art history, you can really name them on two hands, probably, people who are actually able to capture people in a form of expression without it looking like a caricature, and you've done it really well.
Tell me about the hair.
Yeah.
You ran out of time, but...
Well, I mean, the face is really detailed, and generally I do the hair very detailed as well, so I probably would have just gone in and gone for it with it, but...
We could see you holding back.
Yeah.
Were you worried about the time? Or?
Yeah, I didn't want to start it and then not finish it, so I just thought I'd just let the detail fall away.
You've really caught Jilly's wistfulness and fragility. I mean, was it conscious?
I liked the fact that she was quite fragile and quite, you know, she wasn't confident, forward, or, you know, laid back sort of thing, and I quite like that kind of wistfulness.
Would you have tackled the dog in the frame?
If I had more time, yeah. I think Jilly quite likes her dogs as well, so that would have been, yeah. I'm quite surprised with how much I've managed to do in such a short amount of time.
Presumably when you sat down, you knew exactly sort of where you were going to position the head and the face.
Yeah, once I'd seen the set out and he'd been sat in the chair, because his head was quite enclosed in the top of the chair. So I felt that his head was going to go further down the canvas than I'd originally planned. So he was quite tightly in the bottom part, because that's how it felt.
And is it the head that always does it for you, rather than the context or the full figure?
Yeah.
The head?
Yeah.
But also, no, what I found interesting is about how the fabric becomes the fabric of the skin, especially around here, the eye, it worked very well.
Really nice to have that kind of critique from people, because you don't often, if you're locked away in a studio, you don't get that.
To be honest with you, I wasn't even thinking that I'd be picked for the final three, because there's so many amazing artists. That was a real shock.
I thought at the time, even if nothing came of the competition, that I would take what they were saying and think about it. It was really constructive.
After some very difficult deliberations, the judges have made their decision.
Sally, Stephen, Emily, the judges have been very impressed by your work, and it's been a difficult decision to make.
The judges feel that the artist they've chosen to go through to the semi-final turned a disadvantage into an advantage and produced a characterful portrait. And that person is Sally Dyer.
Really happy. I've never painted from that angle before, and that's what I was worried about, but actually it worked out really, really well.
Physically, I am completely whacked. I'm so tired. I'm just running on adrenaline now.
Just overjoyed that I got into the final three. Wasn't expecting it at all.
It's not sunk in yet. I'm still like replaying it in my head. It's just amazing.